Hello everyone, this is Pojo. This is my first big game back. Actually, it's my second big game back. I've been off of StarCraft for about a month now. I was going to SCA, the StarCraft Anonymous, but I don't know. Something about Kate Lockwood's sweet face. I just couldn't stay away. Okay, well, this is one of my second... Yeah, this is, as I said, my second game back, and I just wanted to cast it because I'm playing Zerg for the second time in a row, and yeah... this is not going to be a good game. I'm going to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there right now, because I am back in the game, and one of the things that has happened is I've kept my APM, but I've lost everything else that makes me a good StarCraft player. So, in terms of just like certain decision-making abilities and just sort of the things that I should be doing, you may not be seeing as much of this in this particular game. However, it should be hilarious, so there is that. If that's interesting to you. Alright, so, to start things off with, I am doing my little extractor trick. I'm going to just basically start opening up, as Zerg often do. This is my second game as Zerg. I played 4 straight games as Zerg when I came back, which was really quite excellent, because, yeah, Zerg is definitely my worst race, and it's especially my worst race when I don't really know what I'm doing. They're one of the trickier races to manage. They have lots of interesting advantages, but they're based off of very technical abilities, such as being able to utilize your drones properly, drone up when you should, and build armies when you should, and expand when you should. In this case, I'm taking a fast expansion. This is Shakura's Plateau. I'm not a huge fan of this map, especially since this particular expansion is so easy to defend, but as a Zerg, that works out just fine for me, especially on my first game back. Decided to go for a nice economic build and see what happens. Alright, so there's the protest player. His name is Vietmunki, and I'm not really sure what that means. Maybe he's a Vietnamese monkey, or maybe he's like a combat monkey in Vietnam. I don't know. Well, this will be a war that never ends. As you can see, it's 52-52. I don't have any sort of sweet overlay to hide that kind of lovely bits. He's building a nice little wall off here. I was a little worried because I got my spawning pool out quite late, but when I saw this pretty simple looking wall off, I figured he was going to go a very basic tech route and try and play pretty defensive as opposed to attacking. I didn't see 2 gates or anything, so felt pretty safe, especially with this nice little ramp, because Shakura's Plateau does seem to have very defendable areas. And of course we take a watchtower, or maybe I'll ignore my watchtower. That seems pretty likely, because I am, as previously mentioned, making fairly poor decisions this game. This is just, yeah. Alright, so we have my spawning pull up. I'm starting to mine from an extractor. It's not exactly an early extractor. Maybe I'll try for Zergling speed. Who really knows? I believe I was watching a Day 9 cast, so I'm probably going to start... So I did have some sort of plan going into this. I was thinking about it in terms of, as Day 9 would say it. One of his most recent things talked about how you should... create a plan, and I believe my plan was to go roaches into ultralisks. Not sure if things went according to plan, but I don't really remember, so that's good for you, I guess, because it means I won't spoil anything. But in any case, building a defensive spine crawler, sending a drone to do nothing by that little egg. Well, you know, all great choices, good decisions in general. Not building any sort of like real army, but at the same time, my opponent has sort of walled himself in here with those 2 zealots. He's got a cybernetic core, and he's getting 2 or 3 more gateways. Clearly going the warp gate path, gonna try and go maybe 4 gates, or who really knows? Works in mysterious ways, especially when you're not scouting him. Okay, so we got a Zergling on this one. We got a Zergling on this one. Yeah, that was a good decision right there. Now I can see everything. That's good times. Okay. One of the things that I was doing really well with in this game was I was using my queens to inject larvae properly, and that was something that definitely saved me a lot in this game, because the only other option that I usually have is build another hatchery. If you don't use your queen inject very well, then it creates problems. I have, as you can see, the 2 queens both hotkeyed to the same key, 2 hatcheries both hotkeyed to the same key. That way I can select a queen, go V, and then V on the minimap, and, you know, just vomit larvae all over the place. And then, of course, I also... with the hatcheries selected, you can select and build any unit you want from both hatcheries at the same time. You can set their rally points to the same places. You know, great things like that. It's all good. Looks like I have a roach warren up. I have not built any roaches yet. Yep, still not building any roaches, and that's alright, because that's actually something that's good to do when your opponent is not attacking, when he's not massing up or anything. As you can see, my opponent's got 2 sentries, so maybe he's planning on some sort of expansion, maybe he just had a lot of gas. Yeah, it looks like he went 2 gas, so he's got 3 sentries, 2 stalkers, 2 zealots, you know, pretty decent force. I, in the meantime, have 2 zerglings, and a spine crawler. Yeah! Yeah, excellent times. This is going to be a pretty long, in-depth macro game. Yep, the Zergling's going up there to scout. Oh, and they almost get into the base. Yeah, totally awesome. But they get a pretty decent peek at what my opponent has. Building 2 evolution chambers. Oh, so glad that I built those. Those are just great in general. Layers, good. Yeah, you know, and sometimes when I'm playing like a very poor player, I won't build evo chambers, and I won't take away those upgrades, and of course that comes to be problems, so. But as it is, I'm taking advantage of this nice early expansion, you know, just doing all the things that I normally like to do, getting lots of high-tech stuff, moving into what will probably be a definitely late-game kind of thing, obviously not going for any sort of rush play or anything like that. Gonna sit nice and safe while my opponent tunnels himself up in his base and loses economic advantage by the second. My opponent is building a pylon over here. He has a zealot on this Zelnaga tower, so I guess he's got it kind of defended. This way he can warp units into this particular area without having to necessarily, I guess it's safe from Zerglings at the least. I mean, you know, Hydras and everything. We'll just be able to see right across and shoot it, but yeah, you know, it's a nice little pylon. Oh, I can spoil some things for you. We will be going for an expansion on this particular section, so why he's doing that, I'm not really sure. Like, this does look like a really defendable expansion, whereas this one, you got the destructible rocks on one side, big wide open area on the other, not exactly Zerg-friendly, or Zerg-unfriendly, rather. So, you know, in terms of what he's going to be doing with that, well, it could be considered to be sneaky. And that's not necessarily true, because that Zelnaga tower does tell me that the expansion is there, but yeah, so we'll see what he's going to do there with that Nexus. Oh, in the meantime, I've got a nice army of roaches. Figure need to have some sort of defensive force up at some point. They have their Gilial reconstruction already. Or, no, they don't. They have their tunneling claws building, which, of course, is an excellent thing to build first, especially if you don't have burrow. Oh, but I do have burrow, so, yeah. Yeah, go me. Go Brian. Go Pojo. Yeah, excellent. Building both missile and regular upgrades. Those are all good. And we got roaches everywhere, we got gas, you know, we got some good economic stuff going on. My opponent, nice push force coming up, starting to warp in units on the wrong side of those destructible rocks, I guess in case something comes wrong, you can wall off or something. Yeah, I guess he just didn't want to warp over there. Well, anyways, so he's got this nice force, very heavily composed of sentries. Sentries, you know, they have those force fields. Force fields are really lovely to play with. Lots of people don't know how to get around them, don't know how to do stuff with them, but at the same time, they're also a really weak unit, and they cost a lot of gas. So, this many sentries doesn't seem all that optimal. Although they do have, like, all their goodies all leveled up, so if they manage to wall off some stuff, that could create some serious problems for me. I have a bunch of roaches. I have a spine crawler. Yeah, these armies are not well matched to each other. Stalkers can just tear apart those roaches. Zealots aren't really going to have all that many problems. I think I do see that army, because it is standing on my creep, which is just a really great place, by the way, to place your army. Yeah, just, you know, it's an intimidation tactic. You want your opponent to know you're coming. That way you can be all, like, quaking in his boots. You won't build any units to defend. Won't build 4 or 5 spine crawlers. Alright, so, charging up. Gets himself lots of vision up on that ramp. Puts down a single force field, which kind of blocks my roaches from not doing anything. I've got my Hydras coming up, so they're going to be able to deal with a lot of the heavier units. Yeah, excellent, excellent. Oh, force fields. Oh, burrow. Yeah! Things that make me happy. Roaches with Gilial reconstruction, tunneling claws, and burrow against sentries. Alright, so looks like we got some more of those. And another little burrow. Cute little burrow action there, generating. Hydras. Yeah, this army is now going to get trashed, because it was never all that well suited, but it was there to pick off some sentries, so I think at least I sort of scared him a little bit with those roaches. Lots of good roach play. And I'm spreading creep. Not well, mind you, but yeah, this is the 13-minute mark, so All the same, I have expanded a third time. I think I did that before I got attacked, and then I was all worried about getting attacked, so I started to scout just a little bit. As you can see, my opponent, yeah, he's got, not vision, but some things. There we go. Okay, and this is army value. That's no good. Production tab. What am I building? I'm building Neural Parasite, which means I have an infestation pit. I'm building Missile Attacks level 2 and Ground Carapace level 2. Those are both good things. Taking away those upgrades, very important. I'm not sure if I'm building any infestors, which would kind of be the thing that you'd expect me to do if I'm going to research Neural Parasite. But, you know, maybe I just want to have that one in the bank, use it for later. The Colossus start coming out. Well, I've got a bunch of Hydras coming. Gotta worry about them Colossus. Lots of Colossus all over the place. My opponent, Stalkers, Sentries, an Immortal, 4 Zealots, 5 Zealots. Good times. Yeah, having this third expansion, really quite helpful. My opponent is finally, yeah, he's got pretty good saturation on this expansion. I'm very well saturated on, well, no, it's okay. Good saturation here, oversaturated here, no saturation here, but I do have gas mining, which is good, because Zerg like gas a lot. Yes, they do. If you're a Zerg, you do want to have gas. If you're any race, you really want to have gas, but, you know, that's alright. Okay, a bunch of Zerglings with speed. Looks like, doing a little scout in action. That's good. So I can see all them Stalkers and Immortals, and they can totally trash that army. That's alright. Throw away some money. Nobody really cares. It's just money. Don't need it to win or anything. And that is, of course, valuable scouting information, knowing that my opponent has a lot of stuff up. Ooh, I'm building an Ultralisk Cavern, which is always good. Missile attacks, not coming, but Ground Carapace. Level 2 still coming. Good times, good times. Alright, hold on one moment. Okay, and we're back. So, once again, these armies aren't looking particularly well matched. I do have a huge economic advantage, or at least I should have a huge economic advantage. Resources, looks like, oh, no, that's bad. That's too many resources. But we do have 1,600 income over 1,200, so although that saturation's not all that great, it is going to improve substantially as time goes on, so that's always good. P for production. Or for pause. What's production? D? D is for production. There we go. So, once we start to get the hang of these, then we can start jetting around. Alright, we've got Missile Attacks level 3 coming up, and Melee Attacks level 1. Got Ultralisk Continuous Plating researching, maybe even building some Ultralisks. Yep, there's an Ultralisk. Yep, 1 Ultralisk on the way, a bunch of Hydralisks, Zerglings, all sorts of good things. I'm expecting to run into a nice Colossus heavy ball because I haven't scouted or anything, so I don't really, I know about the 1 Immortal, but not really aware of the other 4. So that should turn out interestingly. Expanding a 4th time. I guess I really want the gas, because I'm certainly not saturating this, but at the same time, still managing to inject larvae into my buildings, so some good mechanics going on here. My opponent, he's got his gateways. I've got my Zerglings going off to take a look around. Looks like there's a lot of photon cannons up there. Yeah, that's not going to do much. On the other hand, my opponent hasn't saturated this nexus here at all, so spending income. I is for income. Oh, there we go. We seem to have evened out. Oh yes, because I've mined out right here, and my opponent hasn't mined out there, which, okay, well, that's fine. I was oversaturated, as I said, so looks like we've got a bunch of drones there. I wager 2 minutes, 3 minutes before they start doing anything. Ooh, yeah, that's a lovely amount of drones. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, looks like I'm building more spine crawlers. Yeah, I have far too many drones right here, so putting some money into spine crawlers, certainly not a terrible idea. I've got lots and lots of income. Looks like my opponent has a single observer over there. How many of these expansions has he seen? He knows about that one, so he doesn't know about this one, though, which is actually saturated in mining and everything, so I guess it's not a huge deal that he's not going after that. Wow, that's a lot of Immortals. I guess he really thinks there's going to be a lot of roaches. Maybe it was those roaches from before that kind of terrified him. As you can see, we're now at the 20-minute mark, and neither of us have attacked more than once. My opponent tried it once, and then decided that that was not a winning strategy. So, high on the meantime, and massively I'm not under food, actually. I just have far too many drones. It looks like I have managed to move my drones up to this expansion, where they are now oversaturating once again. Oh, but it looks like I have saturated both, so... Oh yeah, look at that income skyrocket. So delicious. Okay, we got roaches, zerglings,